Hey guys, what's happening? Robert here, BP News Channel, live with you guys once again, going over what's happening in the news. The good news and the bad. It's all good news now. What is happening right now? Well, Trump is basically, they're saying that he's made a peace deal, and there's a lot of people were thinking that this is just another one of his, statements that he makes before they chop the heads off of the leadership, because they've done it like 3 or 4 times, right, in negotiations. And this is still, if you ask me, this is another one of those big reaches and takes. America's always on the take anyway, right? We're the big bad. Hey, everybody owes us. It's like the mafia. The way I look at it is, and a lot of people like the mafia. There's a lot of countries where the mafia is praised and they're benevolent. They take care of people, but they rob and steal and kill, but they do it all while they it's like the Italians. They have a code of conduct, and they go to church, they go to mass. They're Catholic, but they still do. They still betray each other and kill each other and knock each other off. To control. Ultimately, it's all about money and control, right? So in a certain way, I guess we're the benevolent, bully on the block, and everybody has to bow to what we want, right? But so they're supposedly, and I don't know, the way I look at it right now is I think there's a possibility that we've intimidated them into a place where they might give something up. Supposedly they've given a present. They're promising a present. This is what I've been hearing. They've been promising a present, and there has been some kind of talks going on behind the scenes, but nobody knows who's talking to who. 1 second here, guys. 1 second. Let me real quickly, just 1 second before I get into this, because I got to do this one thing really quick. Hold on. I got one thing here going. All right. I had something stuck in my tooth, and it's so hard to talk when you got something stuck in your tooth. It's just so weird. I didn't even know it was there until I just started talking. Sometimes you don't know until you start doing something that things got, you're on a trajectory. And you got, all right, this can't keep going. We got to do something about that right now. Okay, so, but this is what I think has happened. Trump was on a trajectory, and he realized, the whole world's going to blow up. The whole world already is blowing up. Literally, places are shutting down because they can't get gas. We got big countries like Australia, potentially not only no food in the stores, but no gas, like really. And it's affecting huge markets. So there's all this market turmoil. And it looks really bad. If it goes on any longer, if it goes on for another week, that's it. The whole world is in chaos. That's how bad it is. And is Trump doing this as weakness, or is he doing this because he got them to capitulate, because he literally pushed them into a corner to the point where they didn't want to existentially be destroyed completely off the face of the map? I mean, was Trump really literally serious? Did they literally take Trump that serious that they would have capitulated? Now, who actually is in charge and who's actually dealing with Trump? Nobody knows. Supposedly, the IRGC is in turmoil amongst itself in the back channels. Now, this could be propaganda that we're hearing. But there seems to be legitimate post coming from the Pakistan, Prime Minister of Pakistan. Now, that's his statements. Trump reposted it, that they're going to supposedly mediate talks between high-level leaders in Iran. Now, this could be just Iran people that are in trying to vie for power, that are trying to curry favor with the U.S., and they're trying to trust that there are legitimate talks going to be ongoing and they're going to be installed in power. But there's a big conflict going on inside of Iran amongst leadership, especially in the IRGC. So is this literally going to work? I don't think so. Personally, supposedly Vance, I think Kushner is supposed to be on their way to talks in Istanbul. Or is it Istanbul? No, it's not Istanbul. It's somewhere in Pakistan. So Rubio and Vance supposedly are going to be in talks with Iran to end the war. Okay? It says President Trump said that Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are leading negotiations with Iran, expressing optimism. Okay, now supposedly I've heard this also, that they promised Trump a gift. The press asked Trump what this gift was. Was it nuclear? Did it have something to do with uranium? Because Trump was like, I just really appreciate it. It was a very nice gift, talking like a mafia don, like just kind of, just very nice. But you know how you get that little soft say, we just think that it's a good gift, and they're gonna. It's like they're coming with their tribute, right, before the king, and he's letting everybody know they came to give tribute. Now, what could this be? He says, well, it's gas related. No, it's gas and energy related. It's a very nice, beautiful gift, and I'm really appreciative of this gift, and but it's energy and gas related. It's not has nothing to do with uranium. Because they don't have a nuke. They never did have a nuke. They had a fatwa against having nukes, so it was against Islamic religious, law to have a nuke, so they never had one in the first place. So for them to say that they capitulated, they gave up a nuclear plan to possess nukes, and then the gift wasn't uranium. What was it? It was what are they speculating? They're speculating that it could be the island, that maybe they're going to give the island as a gift to Trump, that the U.S. can control it, right? And maybe, who knows, maybe it's the strait, I don't know. Maybe it's just the island itself and the production of all that oil or that gas refinery. I don't know if it's a refinery or if it's whatever it is, that island that they're supposedly going to go fight over. I don't think it's going to work, because I think that Iran and the way they set up their military echelon, if they were ever to be taken out by U.S. strikes, is decompartmentalized. So there's going to be all these factions fighting, right? And they're all different places within. It's going to be like, and I don't know if there is a chain of command still amongst them, because they still seem to be shooting off some pretty powerful missiles and hitting targets. And, Saudi Arabia is telling the U.S. to keep going, go all the way in, invade. Is Trump going to literally just give in and negotiate? No, I think Trump is just taking what he can get, playing nice, playing good cop, but still going to keep doing what he's doing. Doesn't matter who he's dealing with. They're weak. There are possibly factions going on within Iran. But here's what I think. This is kind of what I see. This is where I think it's at. Now, it could be the prelude. This could literally be the prelude of what they say, peace, then sudden destruction. The only reason I say that is because there is a mindset within Iran, religiously, that believes they're going to usher in the end of days by chaos, and that they have a particular and a special destiny as the Persian Empire to literally facilitate the appearing of the Mahdi, their Messiah, by the chaos that comes from a conflict with the West. And if they truly believe that this is the moment, and there's a lot of talk about their belief that Trump could be the Dajjal, or what they call the Antichrist, then there's going to be all kinds of factions going on there. Is there a moderate faction within the IRGC that's being talked to? I don't know. I don't know. There, Trump's always happy talk, tells you something nice, tells you something that never comes to pass, or it ends up being the opposite of what we expected. But there's a lot of talk that this is supposedly legit. Now, here's what I think could possibly happen. And I'm just going to give you a little illustration, because I always love this movie. I always tell people, like, I'm Will Smith. I'm the guy that's under the table. Have you ever seen that movie, Enemy of the State? It was a movie back in the late 90s. I think it was the late 90s. This is the part where I think we're at. So you got Iran and you got the U.S. We're all holding guns. The whole world's got guns at each other's head. You got the world divided up. You got China, Russia. Supposedly China and Russia are pressuring Iran to negotiate or to somehow bring this war to an end. And supposedly there's somebody within the Iranian high command that's negotiating, and behind the scenes, who knows what's going on with the Iranians. If they really, I didn't hear any names, so I don't know if this is just we're negotiating with ghosts to kind of make it look like that something's actually happening where people are going to get on board and support what we're doing. But it seems like the Iranian or the Russians and the Chinese, because they have huge interest in the region, especially China, they're very dependent on some of the oil that comes out of there. So we've kind of got, China maybe possibly thinking that, because this is affecting all of Southeast Asia. This is going to affect, this is literally going to cause famine. We're talking about famine in Africa, Southeast Asia. It's even affecting Western countries to the point where there's no food on the shelves. There's potentially no gas or diesel in the next few weeks. It's going to be completely done. And how is that going to affect America? That's like the apocalypse. That's like Mad Max, right? So this is where I think we're at. If you ever saw this movie, just tell me if you've seen this movie. This is the part where, in the plot, you have to understand the plot. Like, you see where Will Smith is just sitting there. Okay, I always say this is me. I'm Will Smith. I'm like watching both sides. And what ends up happening is Will Smith gets under the table and they all start shooting each other. But the reason they shoot each other is because they say they're going to make peace, right? Because they know they've got each other. Everybody's got guns on each other, and it will be the end of the world. But listen to this part here. Tell me if this doesn't seem like where we're at right now.
Put your guns away. Put it away. Put it away. Put it away, put it away. All right, I'm putting it away. Now, what will it take for us to get that videotape? The end of the world. Let's go. We're leaving. Put the guns down now. Everybody drop your weapons! No!
Okay, so I think that's what could happen. There's a possibility, a very good possibility that could actually happen. Now, the government was the one that said, put the guns down. The mafia was the big dude. Like, they're in an Italian restaurant. That's literally an Italian restaurant, mafia owned. He's the big Don. If you ever saw the movie, it's a great plot. It's a great movie, actually. It actually predicted and it was kind of like pre-programmed information about all the technology that was out, that was coming out, that is here today, about tracking and following people through satellite and RFID. Well, RFID would probably nanotech, because he had nanotech on his body. Remember, that satellite was following him everywhere he went. He had to take off all of his clothes and everything, his cell phone. He had to throw he was literally running, trying to get away in his underwear, because he knew that they had all these devices that were tracking him. Right. And this was back in the late 90s. So they knew this was where it was all going. But I see that as what I think is happening. That, like, symbolically, we're at that point where you've got Iran and you've got the West. Everybody's pointing their guns. Everybody's got their guns at each other. And they know the potential is the end of the world. Like, they're saying, hey, Trump is like the mafia dude. It's going to take the end of the world. We don't care. We're just going to shoot to the death. So then you got the government like, well, okay, these guys, they're not gonna lay down. We don't want to die, so let's just go. We're all gonna leave. Put your guns down. Let's get out of here. And then some stupid, false flag. I could say the dude that came in the back, he's kind of like the Israeli. He's like, there ain't nobody getting out of here alive. Let's just start shooting right now, because that's what the Israelis do. They come in and they blow it all up. Like, there's supposedly a negotiation going on, and here comes the Israelis. How many times have they done this? Trump says there's a negotiation. Israelis come in the back door. Boom, 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 boom. Take out the top level. Nobody trusts anybody. And they've done that twice already. They did that with the page. Well, they did that with The first negotiation, they took out the high command. They did it. They lured them in again to do it again, and then they did it again. The Israelis came in from behind and did a total decapitation of whatever was left of military high level and command of government. So they're going to trust them again the third time? Really? They're going to trust Trump? Really? I doubt it. I think there's a lot of holdouts. I think there might be a faction that might be trying to work a deal because they've been promised something, and they promised Trump something, and, he's going to go ahead and go with whoever promised him something, and that's going to be bowing before him, right? I'll give you whatever you want. You can have all the oil. You can have access to all of our oil. You really think that's going to happen? I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that somebody's going to come in the back door, and they're going to start shooting. That's what I think is going to happen, and it's going to blow the whole thing up. So supposedly, negotiations are going to be happening, but we'll see. We'll see. We don't know. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to work? Because there's a lot of MAGA people right now that are like, see, 4D chess, man. This is, I told you, we were holding, they were just like, hyperventilating. And now they're like breathing a big sigh of relief. Now, see, our man, he really does know what he's doing. Look, is this really what we're seeing? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Is this a peace? Then sudden destruction comes upon them, because I'm going to tell you what, everything is set up for destruction of the whole global world economy. I think that the ball has already been started to roll. Now, they're talking about COVID-like restrictions now. I want to take you guys through the news. We want to see some news. You want to see some news about what they're saying is happening right now? Let's take a look. By the way, I just want to say hello to everybody. I just go right off the cuff here and start digging into the meat of what's happening and don't say hello to everybody. But it is a live stream, so Scott Ritter is trying to work a deal in Moscow. Really? Huh. That's interesting. Good to see you, Roots Wise. Good to see you, Josh. Treasure, good to see you, Treasure, and your hubby. God bless you guys. Haven't seen John Voight in a while. Yeah, I know. What the heck happened? He got awfully quiet. He's not praising Trump anymore, is he? What the heck happened? I wonder if he's still on the Trump train. A lot of the big MAGA supporters got off. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Good to see you, Mr. Biggs, Bobby Ricky. Michael Clark, what's happening? Big Fat Orange Cat Monty. Peace, then sudden destruction, tangible hope. God bless all of you guys. Funeral Fish, good to see you. All right, so let's get into the news and see what's going on here. Try to make some sense of this. Try to make sense of what can't be made sense of, because really it doesn't make any sense if you ask me. None of this makes sense, but I guess we're going to find out where this is all going. Oh, you know what? I went the wrong way there. Let me see. All right, let's go over to the Telegram page. And we post a lot of news on our Telegram page, so make sure you follow us over there, as well as our website, bpnews.com. blazingpress.com, as well as the BP News app. Don't forget to download that so that you get all your late breaking news updates. And you don't want to miss out on any of the very crucial major breaking news updates, because we go live, usually have some of the best up to the minute commentary and news reporting in terms of feeds and information, usually before anybody else really gets it. Pretty good at being able to show everything too. All right, so let's go and look and see what's being said here. Now, this was an old this was posted on our feed, but I think this was old. This looks like it was I looked it up and it was probably from June. Let's go ahead and look from the beginning of the day. Now, there's a lot of interesting posts here you might want to consider, especially this one right here. This is coming out of Australia. New South Wales Premier calls for COVID-style protocols as fuel crisis explodes. It says a key state premier warns states can't act alone as hundreds of servos, I guess that's service stations, run dry, and fears grow over what comes next for Aussie drivers, not just to mention their driving capabilities, but also their eating ability to eat. Because, all that gas gets your food to the grocery store and diesel, and if you can't get it, what happens? No food. So when they talk about COVID-like protocols, what are they talking about? Like Marshall-type law? Because that's what we really were under, was some kind of COVID-like martial law. And you're talking about just chaos on the streets. We told you this could be potentially what we could see happening all over the world. And this could be the black horse, right? After it comes after the red horse of war, right? Now, I would think that if there is a little reprieve, I don't think it's going to last all that long. I just don't see how this could in any way. Now, everybody wants to hope for the best. I'm not saying I'm not hoping for the best, because I don't really want to see the end of the world right at the moment. I mean, literally. I mean, if it is the end of the world, I'm ready. But that's another thing. You better be ready. Are you ready? That's what you have to ask yourself. Are you right with God? Because if it ever did come to that point where everything did go into Mad Max, reset, order out of chaos, the chaos has to come first, right? In order to remake the world, what they say is Phoenix rising out of the ashes, this new global world order where they have to shed a few billion people on the planet, because this is what their plan has been, right? After the chaos, then comes the order. Well, we haven't shed 2 billion. COVID didn't do it, just so you know. It's got to be something much bigger than COVID. And if you don't know about the Deagle report or the Georgia Guidestones or some of the other protocols, I won't go into the name for that. You probably know which one I'm talking about, some of you that are up on this stuff. The protocols, that book. And also... Albert Pike and, some of the high level Masons and what they predicted would come the First, Second World War. Pretty accurate. And then they also talked about Third World War. So, if you're really looking at that, you kind of have an expectation of what to expect. Not only that, but the Bible itself. Because I think the Bible really gets into the brass tacks of what we can expect to see and how it will look. So if you see parallels when you start studying prophecy, you might want to pay close attention. So is this the prelude of peace, and then sudden destruction? Is Trump fitting the model there? I mean, it does look very eerily similar, but I'm going to hope that it's not. Some people might think that I just relish doom and gloom. No, I'm just telling you what's happening. Doom and gloom is there. It's very clear. We potentially could be living it right now. And I'm not saying it's over. I'm not saying that there's not a potential for some terrible unfolding, flock of black swans. I mean, literally a flock of black swans coming. And if you don't know what a black swan event is, go look it up. But I could foresee if this thing begins to go, the dominoes are like black swans on, V for Vendetta, when he pushes the 1 and then it starts hitting 2 and then 4 and then 6 and then it turns into thousands of, dominoes falling. And this literally could be the beginning of the black swan events that are going to encompass the earth that I think would literally. Now, if they do happen to stop it, maybe there's time. Maybe they're going to take over Iran. Maybe they're going to just give it all up to Trump on a silver platter. Do you think that's possible? I don't know. I don't think so. I just don't think that's going to happen. But there's a lot of hope right now, especially in the MAGA camp. And they're pumping their fists, like Trump knows what he's doing. Telling you for 3D, I told you. Even though he didn't come through on this and he didn't come through on that, and you make some good points. He's not, but he's coming through on this time. This is it, man. This is the real one right here. Right? Is it really? Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So Britain is supposedly going to come to the aid of the U.S. and they're going to take a lead. And they're going to be going in. Now, oops, I'm looking at the wrong one. Here it is. The Royal Navy is set to lead the coalition to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The British Royal Navy is set to lead the coalition effort to reopen the Strait of Hormuz from Iranian blockade, according to the Times. This is the, I believe it's the Times. Yeah, Times.com. A plan led by the UK and France is underway to ensure the safe passage of merchant ships, but it will require the Americans, according to an official. So our troops are going to be there in the next few days. The extra troops that they're sending, whatever they're paratroopers or 82nd Airborne, I don't know who they're sending in there. I just know there's almost probably 10,000 boots that are going to be on the ground. I don't know what's going on here. So there's something going on here. Let me see. Let me turn that down so you can't hear that. Somebody says it's really irritating, and I know it is. That little beeping sound is definitely irritating. I'll turn it off. Okay. Let's see. Is it 5:55? Okay, so it's just another. This is ongoing incursions, missiles, drones going into Israel. So I mean, if it's literally some kind of peace, then you would think that a lot of this would be stopping or slowing down. But it keeps going. There's still more happening. I do think that there's a media blitz to try to make it seem like things are getting better, because it is affecting markets. It is affecting our allies and oil supply and, transit. Because, it is a massive, it is just a huge cluster of confusion is what I would say. Hegseth, Secretary of War, says that negotiating with bombs is part of the operation against Iran. And this was earlier today. Now, supposedly this new silver platter gift to Trump from Iran has just happened in the last few hours. I don't know. I was looking at the reports on this. It was late afternoon. I don't know what time that would have been. It would have probably been at least 12 hours ago. Somebody was saying it just happened, but I don't know. I just don't see it happening. But if it does, well, I'll be pleasantly surprised. It says, for years, we've been waiting for the Americans' entry into the designated points, and for over 2 decades, we've been training with the asymmetric warfare strategy for this very moment. Now we have just one message for the American soldiers: come closer. And this, I believe, is the IRGC leader at this moment calling for troops to come into their kill zone. And yes, it is a kill zone. They have the vantage point on all those mountainous ranges that are surrounding the strait. And when you got, you've got advantage, you got the high point, and you're burrowed into the mountains. You got missile cities in those mountainous ranges that can't be, unless they target the actual entrance point, with a nuke. Even then, they expected that one day they would have a confrontation with America, and they've been preparing for this for at least 20 years. So if they knew that this day would come, which is what a lot of them have said, then they would have prepared for nukes trying to take out entrance points in their missile complex, right? Well, what they do is they shoot and they scoot, right? They come out, they bring the missiles out, they shoot, they go back in, right? So they would have to target every single entrance. They got fake entrances. They've got, real entrances. So it's going to take a lot of missiles being shot down and possibly nukes to try to, and when you talk about missile cities, you're not talking about one missile city. You're talking about multiple missile cities inside of these mountainous ranges. And they've probably put a lot of money into this. A lot of oil money has gone into this. And they are protecting what they believe to be their divine right of passage through that strait, right? All the nations are going to have to, go along with their agenda and pay the toll, and also allow them to be who they are, right? Nobody like Trump is going to come and mess up their parade. But there's a lot of talk right now, and who knows what's really going on. Like, it could be just propaganda for all we know. Okay, so this was earlier today when Trump, this was when he said it. So this was supposedly what people are pointing to where he said that they made a deal. Let's go and listen to that. I haven't even heard it yet. I want to see it. What did Trump, something that Trump just posted. Let's see what this is. And this just popped up. California mass in-person election fraud crimes caught on camera. Okay, so it's the election thing. Okay, so he's posting about the election thing. But let's go ahead and look and see what Trump said today. Kind of curious. Okay, here it is. So this was 9 hours ago. I think we should. What the heck is? Yeah, let's listen. Let's listen to this because I've kind of been out of the loop today because I haven't been online as much, and I wanted to kind of hear this anyway. So you don't mind if we all just sit and listen to this? Did you guys listen to this? I'm going to kind of listen. We're going to just kind of scoot ahead and get to the point, right? But let's just see what he had to say here. I'm kind of curious.
It's been a long time. Must be something big happening, huh? You all set? Well, thank you very much. It's a great day for me because I have a lot of confidence in this gentleman. And we're thrilled to swear in our new Secretary of Homeland Security, a great American patriot, to put it mildly.
Okay, hold on.
One crime and these.
I'm just going to scoot to the point where he talks about it because this is 45 minutes, so I don't want to wait here. And let's see if we can get to the actual transcript. There's a transcript here that I can just search really quick. Let me just see if I can search it really quick and find it. He said, gift. Let's see what the gift. Yeah, they made us a very, okay, here it is at 30 minutes. Okay, so let's get into the 30-minute mark here. There we go. All right, let's listen in.
But I don't trust anyone. Why do you say that? Why do you say what makes you trust? Do you think I trust them? I don't trust them.
Then why bother talking to them?
Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth a tremendous amount of money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant.
Why wouldn't he tell us what the president is? They asked him, do they trust the Iranians in the negotiation process? Maybe the Iranians are going to, maybe they're doing this. You ever think about this? Maybe they're pretending and they're playing good cop. Maybe they're going to pretend like they're going to make a deal and then they're going to attack us. Because that's what Trump did. maybe they're playing the game and they're playing with Trump's head. You know, did you ever think about that? That could be going on too. You never know.
Prize, and they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people.
Is that nuclear related?
No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related, and it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone, as the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum racked up pretty good, and everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out, and the present, the gift they made to us was very significant, and they said they were going to do it, and it happened, and they're the only ones that could have done it. Jennifer?
Was it related to the Strait of Hormuz and the flow of?
Yeah, it was related to the flow and to the strait, yeah, it was.
Are you negotiating on who's going to control the strait from now on?
No, we'll have control of anything we want. Look, if we can end this without more lives being down, without knocking out $10 billion electric plants that are brand new and the apple of their eye, I'd like to be able to do that, But they can't have certain things. I mean, you know the things. I don't have to go over the list, but again, it starts with no nuclear weapons, and they've agreed to that. There won't be any nuclear weapons. They're not going to have, and they're not going to have enrichment, any of those things.
They never had nuclear weapons in the first place. They had a fatwa against nuclear weapons. Even the guy that resigned, high level guy that resigned, supposedly they're investigating him now, because he supposedly gave out classified information. What classified information did he give out? That Iran was not even close to having a nuke. He said that that was what the intelligence community assessment of the situation was. And the reason why he resigned was because he didn't want to go along with this war. That was the guy that resigned not too long ago. So how could they say that? This just reminds me of the whole after 9/11 with Iraq. No nuclear, no weapons of mass destruction were ultimately found. And, it just seems like either they're putting words and they're speaking to puppets right now, and the real sentiment of the majority of leadership that is still there. And I would imagine military is in control of Iran right now. I just don't see them in any way making a deal. I just don't see it. I can't. If it's true, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. And it just sounds to me like more of what Trump has always done, I could go through a list of things that he said that's going to happen that hasn't happened. People said, well, that's the art of the deal. You promise something, but you don't really make good on it. It's kind of like in Trump's book, Art of the Deal, where you use creative hyperbole, even though it's not true. You tell people things they want to believe because everybody wants to believe something very fantastic and something that stimulates and excites them, even though it's not true. He says you talk big and you present something that's beyond expectation, even though it's not true, to get people to go along with what you're saying, right? But you got to believe it. You got to make it sound so believable. It's kind of like used car salesman. You got to believe it. You got to go into detail and talk about details so that people really get on board, and you got to sell it. You got to sell it. You got to believe it in yourself. You got to believe, even though it may not be true. He calls it creative hyperbole, right? And so, to me, that's not telling the truth. Okay, I don't care. Fake it till you make it. Blab it and grab it. Positive confession, positive PMA, positive mental attitude, mind over matter. Ultimately, that philosophy fails. It might manipulate people for a period of time, and you might be able to get your way, but in the end, it comes out wanting. You end up having no substance, and it's probably going to backfire on you anyway down the road. So if it does work, because you end up having bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy after bankruptcy, because that's what he had. He had like 6 or 7 bankruptcies of all the businesses that he's done. And then he says he makes money off of bankruptcy. So, hey, if you can game the system and make money off of insider trading or backdoor deals or bankruptcy, well then, truth is relative. There is no truth. There is no morality. Everything is permissible, right? Do whatever you want. Just call it good and say it's an amazing deal. I did bankruptcy and it was an amazing deal. I actually made money on it. So America, we're bankrupt, but hey, we're making money and we're the hottest economy ever. How do we become a hot economy when everything is falling apart? I just don't get it. Inflation is through the roof. People can't afford groceries. People can't afford their insurance. Everything is beyond. People are talking about this all over, about prices. Like somebody was just commenting in the comment section. I went and bought. I couldn't buy regular coffee because it was so expensive. So I went to go get instant coffee, and normally it would cost $5. Now it's like $12. Like instant coffee, $12. I know these little coffees used to be about $4 or $5 on sale, and now they're like 18 or 20. Like and it's the Folgers cheap coffee, those little round things. Literally, you can usually get those for $4 to $6. Now they're like $20. That's average price, around 18 to 20. That's just a little smidgen of everything that has gone up all across the board. You're telling me that this is not a tax on the American people? Not to mention the fact that the only thing they really kept down for, everybody looks as a barometer of feeling that the economy is somewhat stable is that you have a low gas price, right? So we've had low gas prices, but that's not really a whole lot that you save. If you're literally spending, $1,000 or $2,000 extra a month because your gas and your electric bill and your food costs and everything else, but you save like what? Maybe $50 a month or $100 a month on gas. It doesn't add up. It's just playing with the numbers. You're just making people feel good. Oh, well, the real big thing was the eggs. Well, we got the eggs down. We got the egg prices down. Well, yeah, imported a lot of eggs from weird countries. Who knows what they do to their chickens? Same thing we're doing with beef right now. We're importing all kinds of beef because we don't have enough beef. We can't even produce beef. We don't even have. Feed is too high. I mean, subsidies from government to farmers so that they can keep their farms, because literally the farming is just being completely 86'd out by foreign competition. And prices are so high that they can't even afford to have herds. They can't afford to feed their herds or even produce crops now, because now fertilizer's going up to the roof. Like what? Fertilizer's going to be 30-40% higher now. How is that going to work? Everything's going to be passed on. And don't think that just because he made a deal now everything's good, because now you got that whole supply chain thing. It's going to be like a big wave that's going to come through. It's kind of like a big tsunami. Even though the earthquake stops, there's still going to be waves coming. You're going to still be affected. And by the way, there was some insider trading that was going on that looks like it's connected to what somebody knew was coming. And they knew how these political statements of Trump that affects the markets, they knew ahead of time like what Trump was going to do and what he's going to say. And everybody's speculating like, hey, who's on the board of Polymarket? Oh, Eric Trump. What is that? Political betting? Making money off of things that they know are going to come before it actually happens? Somebody putting in big, large bets. And you can see the graphs right before Trump says something. The graphs go up on this one particular thing that Trump's going to say, and bam, he says it. Like, they're making billions and billions and billions of dollars off of what is happening politically. Okay? That's what's going on. Stock market, same thing. Stock market, people are putting money into certain things that they know is going to turn around and make a huge profit because of what he's doing. So let's listen a little bit more and see what else he said.
But look, I hate to say that we're in a very good bargaining position, and I hate to say that they're defenseless, because, until that last missile is fired, they have little power. But we are in about the best bargaining position. We're way ahead of schedule. And again, they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no missile protection, and most of their missiles are gone. Most of their launchers we've killed. We've killed about 82% of their launchers. So even if they had a missile, they can't launch it. We've been very fast. We have the greatest military in the world. Nobody even comes close. We have the best military equipment in the world. Go ahead.
On Saudi Arabia, there's been some reporting that you've been talking to the Crown Prince. Have you been focused on normalization between Saudi Arabia and Israel?
Well, no, we have a great relationship with Saudi Arabia. What do you hear with Saudi Arabia?
Just hearing that you've been talking and that he has been.
All right, so what do you guys think? What's your thoughts on this? I'm kind of curious. I'm going to look at your comments in the comment section, and then we'll get back into the news. Just out of curiosity, what's your guys' thoughts on where this is going? Do you guys think, I'm going to take an instant poll. Do you guys think that Trump is going to come out, the United States is going to come out a winner on this? Do you think that we're going to actually, take over Iran or install a government that's going to be and that China and Russia are just going to be good with it? You think China and Russia are going to be good with what we do there? Because, we did the same thing in Venezuela. Don't you think that might push And I go back to the Dmitry Duduman scenario of a sneak attack by China and Russia. Did we push China and Russia into a position where they would literally think about possibly attacking the United States? Because that was the scenario that not only, and I just say this esoterically, I could literally see a situation where if it did succeed, that we would literally push the world to the brink of a real conflict of superpowers. We're talking about Russia, China, and the United States. And if you don't know Dmitry Duduman's prophecies, you might want to take a listen to those. But could we literally have pushed us to the brink on that? Red Dawn. I don't know if they would even need to do that. I think they would just probably, well, they could after they did strikes and weakened us. But if we had and I think there's a possibility that there could be civil unrest with this upcoming No Kings protest. That's going to be happening in 4 days this weekend, and that's scheduled to be widespread all over the whole of the United States. You're talking about a mass amount of people being out there on the streets. I think it's going to outpace what happened in 2025. I don't know if you saw the videos of how many people were out on the streets 2025, but I think this year is going to be more populated. There's going to be a lot more people. And is there a potential because of the economic situation and also the political situation with what's happening in geopolitics there in the Middle East for unrest? People rising up to say this is enough? Did Trump save the day by making this deal right at the last minute, if it is a deal? I mean, if the Iranians really wanted to blow the whole world up, and I just don't see them saving themselves. I don't see that leadership would in any way capitulate and go against their deeply held beliefs and somehow give in because they're afraid to die. Because I don't think that that's the mindset that they hold. I think that they are religious fanatic about their faith. They are fanatical about their faith. And they truly believe in a very deep way, and we're talking about the real Shiite Muslim belief, and they're not going to in any way submit, to Trump, unless it's just a secular representation of what might be, infighting that's going on. I just don't see the IRGC, factions within there, if there is a strong man in there. But I guess we're going to find out. So 5-gallon bucket and potatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, etc. Yeah, MRE is good. So I'm looking at some of this comments here. The 4chan script. What is that, Kevin? Tell me. You need a few more cc's of hopium. We need to get that drip of hopium coming on into your veins there. Get some of that hopium coming in. CSE driver says, I don't think there's any negotiations. I think Trump is making it all up. No, I don't know if he's making it up. I think there might be something going on in the back channels, but we'll see. There's a possibility there is something going on there, but my guess is that it's not going to be of any consequence that there's going to be, because he even made a statement that they still have missiles and they're going to probably still fire some missiles. And so all I've been hearing is the alerts in Israel going off like crazy. So, but I haven't seen any major attacks lately. Major attacks on like our bases or anything, but who knows? We might not be hearing what's going on. Tracy, God bless. Thank you much. Yes, the grow kits are still available. Tracy, that's great. Thank you. We just caught up on all our orders. There was a lot of people that did order, and it definitely does help the channel, but it also is something that you can do to get yourself food security in case something really does go down that's bad. You got your vegetable intake, and it's more healthy probably than buying a whole bunch of vegetables at exorbitant rates, especially if it's organic. This is all organic. I've done videos on our microgreens, and microgreens, you could live off of microgreens. Seriously. I mean, that's like, you can eat a small amount of broccoli sprouts or broccoli microgreens, and it'd be like eating 7 cups of broccoli. And it's all concentrated. Everything in there is concentrated. It's the best way to get your vegetable intake. And I would tell everybody, go stock up if you can on, non-perishables, and make sure you have enough gas. If you thought about possibly going up beyond, if something bad happens, you got a little bit of reserve there. But, like I said, if it's as bad as I think it could get, then there would be no, you would basically have to say, when you have all these leaders of the world on all these different religions right now saying Armageddon, you're saying Messiah's here, this is the end game, this is the culmination of the age. You've got Muslims saying it, you got the Jews saying it, you got the Christians saying it, and everybody's saying everybody's their Messiah's here, and Trump is the Antichrist. You got the Muslims saying Trump's the Antichrist. You got Christians even saying Trump's the Antichrist. And then you got the Jews saying that Trump is the Messiah. I'm telling you, it looks just like what the biblical predictions of the end times would look like with this board of peace. And there's a whole bunch of other really weird signs that have followed Trump, I would say are very interesting to note. And if your timeline is interpreted in a way that isn't the traditional way of, the traditional way of looking at the rapture, which would be like the Left Behind series or the Hal Lindsey idea, you might be able to see how it fits with an interpretation that might be more closer to what's actually happening right now. And I could see it. I can literally see a consistent kind of flow of events that seem to be lining up. Now, is it going to be imminent? Is it like right at this moment? I hope, I pray not. Because if it is, okay, so we're on the edge right now. If this goes on for another week or two, they know that's it. Trump knows that's it. They're like looking over a precipice. This is what the global leaders are doing right now. They're looking over a precipice. And they say, if we keep going, that's it. There's no stopping what's about to happen. And that means no food. That means famine. That means unprecedented conflict, probably involving nukes with the superpowers. Okay, that's what it would mean. Now, I think everybody is freaked out. I think Trump has literally brought the whole world to the brink. And he's like that big, heavy set dude saying it's going to be the end of the world. He's not backing down. And he knows that people are not as crazy as him and that they're going to put down their guns. But what happens when the guy comes in the back door and starts shooting and causing everybody to start unloading on each other? That's what I'm worried about, is the dude coming in the back door, which I would say represents other interests, and they have designs to be the capital and the global center of power, overseeing the downfall of all the nations, the West, as well as China and Russia. See, this is where they all neutralize each other. And you could say, well, the one that did the shooting is actually in collusion with the guy under the table, because he's the only guy that survives. If you saw the movie, everybody else dies. And Will Smith comes out from underneath the table. And everything's all blood. Everybody's bloodied, and he's the only one that survived. The dude in the back, though, he initiated the whole end times. He initiated the whole destruction of both sides. But who do you think that guy, if this really was, see, this is what they want. And I say they, you know what I'm talking about. They want to be the ones that come out on top at the end when everybody else destroys each other. That's why they put in Shiite Muslims, and they get the Sunni Muslims fighting with each other, and they say that, oh, well, it's just like Moses. He was in Egypt, high level, second to the Pharaoh, and then all of a sudden he became a convert, or no, he recognized who he really was and decided to, from within that nation, ultimately destroy it and liberate the Jews, right? The Exodus, get them out of there, establish them in their promise, and their inheritance ultimately to take over the whole land, right? And so they believe that Trump is going to be like that Moses figure. And he's going to bring down the actual empire from which and they say that the U.S. represents Rome, right? We are representing the revived Roman Empire, or what they would say is Esau or Asav, which represents Esau. Esau or Asaph or Edom, which represents Rome, right? The empire of Rome. Bring it down, right? This is what that sentiment is out there. Believe me. I showed you the video on that, where the guy talks about that. That is a very, that's a belief that they have, and they believe they're projecting that belief onto Trump, that he's going to literally bring back, and he's helping them to reestablish the state of Israel and the greater Israel, and to rebuild the temple. That's what they believe Trump is doing right now. And this is a part of the process. This is everything you're seeing going on right now. This is a part of that process to bring that reestablish. That's why I'm saying he fits the the whole narrative of the end times, if you're looking at the timeline in the correct way. But a lot of people say, "Oh no, it can't be. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be." So. The sprouts. Yeah, there's the sprouts. The links to the sprouts. If you want to get the sprouting kits, okay, so here's what we got. I got to tell you this too. So I want to show you some more stuff because I'm doing all kinds of stuff here. We got lighting kits. So in order to get your grow kit, your grow kit is going to be a light. Well, we're going to put together some more kits, but you can get the lighting kit, and it's real easy to put together. Very easy to put together. And you can grow your vegetables right in your own house. It's like urban farming. An unlimited amount of vegetables. All you need is a bag of seeds, like literally. Like you get a thing of seeds like this. This is 5 pounds. This will last you a long time. I'm telling you, just a little, a couple of tablespoons of this seed will do a big grow, like on a tray. You'll have enough vegetables, and it's concentrated minerals, phytonutrients, vitamins. Everything is packed, concentrated, so you don't need to eat as much. The only thing is you don't have as much fiber, because obviously when you eat 7 cups of vegetables, they're saying that you should eat 7 cups of vegetables a day. I don't know who does that. Does anybody out there do that? I don't. But that's your fiber. But you can get fiber in other ways too. But when you have that concentrated, there you go. You're not going to have all these supplements. This is all organic seed. You're in control of your vegetables. If they're run out of the stores, you got it right there in your house, and you can do it for pennies on the dollar. If you were to go out to the store to buy it, if you were to buy vegetables, now they're so expensive, especially organic. But if you want to get the other vegetables that are less expensive in the other section, they're saturated with glyphosate, Roundup, and got all kinds of GMO crap in it. And who knows if you're going to grow a third arm out your head if you keep eating it, literally, or cancers. Who knows what all this GMO'd, genetically, what do they call it, modified? Well, they're also saying it's they got another term for it now to try to hide it, but you don't want any of that. You can control your own grow and get connected to, farmers markets. Get connected to local farmers that are actually growing their own meat, and that don't put all the hormones and steroids and vaccines and everything else into their animals. Get some chickens. Grow your if you have the ability. Get some chicken. If you can't, like I said, vegetables are the first best thing you can do. You can get your your protein from even rice and beans, so stock up on that. I'll just say this. Things are going from bad to worse. The average U.S. diesel price has quickly approached $5.40 a gallon. Look at that. Diesel is what trucks all of your vegetables and fruits and all of your food stuff. Everything that goes to your stores is trucked by diesel fuel. So when you see the price go up $1 or $2 a gallon, which it already just has, because it was at $3 a gallon not too long ago. Now it's at $5.40. You know how much that is passed on to your food price? So you thought your food prices were high now. Just wait. Just wait until you see what's coming in, like a tsunami of rising prices. Especially if they don't solve this problem and it gets worse. Now, let's go back and look at some of the news here. And by the way, get on the app. Here, listen to this really quick.
Robert here at BP News. Wanted to let you know that we've got that early warning alert system set up. It is the BP News app. Don't miss out on breaking news when it happens in real time. You will get a push notification and or a text alert. In order to get the text alert, once you download the app, make sure you hit the right top hand corner icon, little person icon up there, and register with your phone number, and that way we can send you a text alert. Otherwise, just use it as a guest and get the push notification. That comes directly through the app, and you'll see an alert when we go live. Stay in touch with all of our social media as well here at BP News. God bless.
All right, I love you. See, I even got hearts after it. Tells you how much I love you. Get on that app so you don't get out of the know. You want to be in the know, not outside the know. You want to be in the canary. You want to be aware of the canary in the coal mine. You want to know what's happening before it becomes news, right? Because you don't want to all be running to the door when everybody else is running to the door, right? You don't want to be the part of the herd mentality, because what does the herd do? They're all being guided into the kill zone, because they're all going to be like lambs led to the slaughter. Now, I'm not saying that there ain't a time to be like Jesus and just give it all up, but when the Lord has something still for you in this world, you better be smart. Use your head. Use your brains. All right, so let's move on and look at what else we got here. So we're back over here. Okay, so Britain responds to Iran war energy shock by requiring solar panels and heat pumps in all new homes. This is according to CNBC. So they're basically sounding the alarm that, hey, you're going to have to heat yourself and you're going to have to light yourself and get all your electricity from solar, because gas might be a luxury. Even that, it might not even be available. You better get your electric car that could blow up on you, because batteries are unstable. And who knows, these Teslas just catch on fire and blow up. But China is actually perfecting the battery technology with this new silver infused battery. That's why I think silver is going to go up, because these new batteries have a huge amount of silver in them. Did you know that? These new silver batteries that are able to be charged in like 5 or 10 minutes as opposed to 2 hours, they can be charged up like that. And you're talking about something much better than lithium. So that could be a big game changer. And we talked about COVID protocols for this new crisis that's happening with energy. Are they planning on locking people down because of, general chaos and uprising and food riots? Is that why they're preparing all this? You got to kind of wonder. Japan calls for calm as toilet paper panic buying returns amid online rumors. Calm down. Put the toilet paper back. You're all right. Don't worry, it's not going to be disappearing. Now, toilet paper was the canary in the coal mine, right? The canary in the coal mine. Toilet paper, when it starts disappearing, you know that food's next. Now, for me, I wouldn't go out and buy toilet paper with the money that I had. I would go out and buy food first. Okay? If I'm going to panic and buy something, I'm going to go out and buy something that will sustain my toilet paper ain't going to sustain my life. It might make life easier, but it's not going to provide food, and sustenance and everything else that I need. I won't need toilet paper if I don't have food. So you better get some food. All right. And yeah, get the toilet paper too, but I would say make sure you spend the majority of your money on food. Remember how toilet paper was the first thing to run out in American grocery stores in 2020 when COVID began? It's starting again in Japan. This is the news here. The government of Japan has warned citizens against panic buying of toilet paper following the spread of social media posts suggesting shortages driven by concerns over escalating military developments in the Middle East. See, this is what they're afraid of. They don't want people to start panic buying, because what happens is it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. We panic buy, and then everybody else is like panicking because there's nothing there anymore. And then now everybody's in a cycle of panic. Whenever they see anything hit the store shelves, they buy it. And then everybody else is like, oh, dang, they just filled the shelves up and it's all gone again. And everybody's panicking. Now, there might be real reasons to panic. If you're looking at the news and you're seeing terrible things unfold, then yeah, you better have more than just a few days of food. You better start stocking up for, weeks and maybe a month or more. That would be the smart thing to do, right? Especially if it looks like it's going to be a dark, unfolding catastrophe that could literally be, as the Trump administration has been portraying it to the military, Armageddon. They're saying it's Armageddon. I would prepare like it's the apocalypse. Okay? And that's just getting enough food and whatever you need to get you through to the point where Jesus returns. So when he does return, you're ready. Like, hey, I didn't die before you got here. I'm still alive. I was smart. And there was there are scriptures that say that the blessed are those who get to the end, right? That actually make it all the way to see his return, right? There's a special blessing, I guess, if you can make it all the way to the end. Now, that would be at the time of his return, and I think those who are alive and remain, right, will be caught up together. That might be the extra blessing, because you get a ride on up, right? You get to fly away, as they say. But the dead in Christ will rise, and those who are alive and remain will be caught up together with them in the air, and there they shall forever be with the Lord, right? Amen? How many of you guys actually believe that's legit? That actually is going to happen. How many of you guys do believe in what they say is a rapture? The Bible doesn't call it a rapture. It calls it the harposa in the original language. It's a snatching out or a snatching away. So people believe that that's what the Lord does when he returns, is he takes his people that are still alive and remain. So the advisory comes after reports online show online images, empty shelves, and stockpiling behavior, with some users on X claiming that nearby stores had run out of essential goods. And that was in Australia. Obviously, those were real videos. Those weren't fake. And I guess there's a lot of other videos showing people hoarding, panic buying. We're not panic buying. We've already told you guys for a long time to start stocking up. That's not panicking. That's called preparing. So you don't have to panic. You prepare, right? So you don't have to panic. That's why you got some time still. Thank God that it hasn't all gone. They haven't pushed us over the edge yet. But hey, you still got time to prepare. You got to prepare, because who knows how much time, there could be a massive hack on Amazon, because everybody gets their stuff from Amazon now, or internet, and you can't get anything. I mean, you're stuck to local supplies, and that's always more expensive, and also dependent on the ability for trucking to come in, right? Or fuel supply and or civil stability. No social or civil unrest. If that happens, then they lock everything down, and then nothing happens. And that's the equivalent of what the Chinese were doing during COVID, when they were welding people into their homes. They were welding people into their homes and their windows and their doors, so they couldn't get out. They're going to just say, hey, you can't go anywhere because it's martial law. Well, we don't have nothing to eat. Well, that's okay. We just don't want you out on the streets. Sorry, if you're out there, we'll shoot you. That's pretty much what they're going to do. Protecting infrastructure, I don't know. Maybe they will shoot you, maybe they won't. Who knows? They'll just arrest you and put you into a FEMA camp. And then they'll send you to another foreign country and say you're not a citizen. Who knows? Anything's possible with what's going on, man. I'm telling you. South Korea has announced mandatory fuel rationing for public sectors. South Korea will begin enforcing 5-day car rotation system, banning certain cars from driving on certain days. Isn't that crazy? Food rationing, gas rationing. What else are they going to ration? I think there's been a rationing of Americans have a rationing of rational thought. They don't think rationally. You know, most people don't even have a memory. They don't put two and two together. They listen to the news media or what the, current message from the president is, and that's like, oh wow, everything's a-okay again. I'm not able to think clear for myself. I just listen to what anybody tells me. And they say it's a beautiful sunny day and everything's fine. I feel good. And then he says, no, it's bad again, and it's World War III, and now I'm down. It's like whatever they tell you, you're just a subject to whatever is, being pumped into your veins, right? The hopium. Electric and hydrogen vehicles are exempt from such restrictions. The system has been in place, but was previously run loosely. 1.5 million vehicles will be subject to stricter rules. The measure is expected to help the country save about 3,000 barrels of crude oil every day. That's hardly anything. The Philippines has declared national emergency and initiates an emergency allocation plan and other energy conservation measures. So, Philippines in crisis, energy supply, oil, gas, LNG. Don't know what to do. It could be the end. Here we are in India. This is why everybody is holding on to Trump. Trump is the one that's going to save the world. Whatever Trump says, the whole world's got to go along with. He is the arbiter of peace. He is the peace president. He is the one that is the head of the peace board that oversees the whole world. And as Canadian Prepper says, whenever Trump farts, the whole economy turns on a dime. This is India. It says major cities in India, particularly Hyderabad, is currently experiencing a severe compressed natural gas, or CNG, shortage, forcing thousands of auto rickshaws, and that's what these little cars are here, these little, they're like little taxis. They're like motorcycle cars. And they can't even get gas. They're waiting in these long queues to procure just a few liters of gas so they can go a little bit, down, these things can get great gas mileage. They probably get 100 miles to a liter or two. And that's how they make their money. They take people around the city and they, it's like a taxi. A lot of people don't even have cars. They don't want to take bicycles or motorcycles. They just get in one of these things and pay a little toll, and they get to go wherever they want. But there's no gas. So what's India going to do? Vietnam Airlines is suspending some routes as jet fuel risks rise. Vietnam is shutting down airline flights. Some airline flights are now being shut down, and it could potentially be in Southeast Asia. The whole airline industry could shut down because there's no jet fuel. And this is just happening. This is just an article out of Vietnam. International Energy Agency released a guide manual with measures states can adopt to limit fuel consumption and preserve existing fuel reserves. We're going to have to go back to driving 55 miles an hour. They're going to probably lower the speed limit because, I can't drive 55. Remember that song? It became like a rock anthem because so many people were so sick of driving 55 miles an hour. How'd that go? Who was it that sang that song? Anybody know what the group was that sang that song? I can't drive 55 or something like that. Goldman Sachs says to brace for a worldwide inflation surge. Yes. Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. Brace for impact. It's about to hit. We've been telling you this for a while now. You better get ready because when it hits, it could be bad. And it could even be worse if some unforeseen event happens where somebody comes in the back door and starts shooting, like in that movie. Then it's all hell breaking loose. It's the end of the world, as he said. It's the end of the world. The end of the world as we know it. Breaking. Australia to plant less wheat as global fertilizer woes deepen. As the energy crisis becomes a food crisis, wheat farmers in Australia, one of the world's biggest agricultural exporters, are paring back plantings as concerns over fertilizer supplies mount. No, we're not paring back. We're actually increasing. I'm sowing all kinds of seeds right now. I am increasing because I hope we might be able to help other people, not just ourselves. So we want to make sure everybody's set up with the seed, just like Joseph. Remember, Joseph stockpiled seeds for 7 years. And when the famine finally hit, he helped even his wayward brethren who tried to kill him. He gave them a lot of good advice and some food so they didn't starve to death, and actually saved a lot of people in the kingdom and the surrounding nations because he foresaw the famine that was coming and got everybody ready. So we are planting more seeds. We're not paring back. You can't reap if you don't sow. So start sowing. You're not going to be able to reap if you don't sow. So start sowing. The latest sign of how the war in Iran is disrupting operations on farms around the world. Wheat is a nitrogen-intensive crop. By the way, I did get some nitrogen in, and I also got some, you mix nitrogen with Epsom salt, and it's a great feed for your microgreens. They already grow really well by themselves with the power of the seed itself, but you can also feed them too and make them even better, right? Nitrogen and Epsom salt together, I guess, is some kind of I have to figure out. I'm learning a whole bunch about this, and I'm going to tell you everything I learned too. But basically, there's certain mixture that you can do as you're watering. You know, you put it in your water, and it helps everything to grow. So wheat is a nitrogen-intensive crop with fertilizer use among the key factors for yields. With exports through the Strait of Hormuz largely stalled, crop nutrients worldwide are quickly becoming pricier and harder to find, which means lower yields and higher prices. Yeah. Alert Shell CEO warns Europe could face fuel shortages as early as next month. Fuel shortages in Europe as early as next month. How long away is the next month? About 6 days, about a week. I told you panic would be coming within a week, right? A week ago, didn't I tell you that? About a week and a half ago, I said panic will be within a week to 2 weeks. Am I not on target on that? But Trump's going to pull a rabbit out of the hat. He's going to save the world. Maybe not. Maybe not. You don't know what I'm going to do. I could not. I don't want to tell you. Could be. Head fake. Another head fake. Got to make some more money. We'll tell the world this, and we'll bet on the other side. All right, Eric, go to the Polymart and bet right here because I'm going to say this tomorrow. That's how they're doing. That's what they're doing. Polymart. If you don't know what Polymart is, go check it out. Go look at that video I posted. That video I just posted, you got to go check it out. And it'll explain it. It'll explain all that backdoor dealing with the geopolitics and all the things that are happening. Because when President Trump says something, the markets go the opposite way. So if anybody knows what he's about to say, they're going to make some money. All they got to do is get ahead of them, right? The Treasury just declared the U.S. is insolvent. The media missed it. This is according to Fortune today, Fortune magazine. You can go check out that article. Yeah, the U.S. is insolvent. Israel strikes Russia-Iran weapons supply line in Caspian Sea. Well, that's awesome. Severe shortages of oil and gas are beginning to happen all over the world, all over the globe. Very serious shortages of oil and gas are starting to occur. Unfortunately, if this war continues for an extended period of time, this will only be just the beginning of the crisis. Even if the war were to end tomorrow, and that is not going to happen, it would take time for the tankers that are currently trapped in the Persian Gulf to reach their destinations. And it would take years to fully repair the damage that has already been done to the oil and gas infrastructure throughout the Middle East. Whether we like it or not, we are facing a global energy crisis for the foreseeable future. And that is not good news at all. Yeah, your prices are definitely going to go up, even if Trump, farts out a peace deal, which I don't think is going to happen. Did you see my thumbnail? I love that thumbnail. I gotta see it again. Let me look at my thumbnail again. Let's just see my thumbnail one more time. I want to see my thumbnail. Hold on. Tell me you don't like this thumbnail. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, that's a good one too. I like that one. Look at this one. Look at this one. look at this. This is this is supposedly the guys that are in charge in Iran. This was just yesterday. So listen to what he said. Listen to what the IRG leader said yesterday. Tell me if they're looking like they might make a deal with Trump the next day. Okay, so he says, and I'll read it to you. He says basically, and I'll turn it down because nobody knows what he's saying. Has the level of your own, let's see, he says, has the level of your own conflicts reached the stage of negotiating with yourselves? Because obviously Trump was telling the world that he's been talking to the Iranians. And the Iranians are like, what in the world? Who is he talking to? We're not talking to him. Neither will you see your investments in the region, nor the former prices of energy and oil, until you understand that stability in the region is ensured by the powerful hand of our armed forces. And he went on to say other things too, but I just really think that's an awesome thing. Like, we made a deal. It's peaceful. Everybody loves again. Now can I have my Nobel Peace Prize? I've only had like 6 wars, but hey, I deserve peace because I am the arbiter of global peace. The arbiter of global peace. And if they don't give him a peace prize, he's going to make up his own peace prize. And that's exactly what he did. He made up that. Did you know he got that guy to make that peace prize just for him? The FIFA, what was it? The FIFA or FIFA? They just started doing that now because Trump needed a nice World Peace Cup. He needed to look presidential. All right, so what else do we got here? It looks like we're almost done here. We're almost to the end. This is the end. Okay, so the Islamic resistance in Iraq published. Let's see what this one says. published a video of an attack by an FPV drone against American forces at Victory Base. Among the targets hit were an AN-64 Sentinel radar and a UH-60 helicopter. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's... So let's see if... I didn't get to see what happened there. What happened? So did it actually impact? Let's see if it impacted. Oh, I see. Okay. So here it goes. Oh, wow. So they show it hitting one of the radars. Bam. That messed it up. It's probably no good now. And then there's another one where he hits a helicopter. Let's see where the helicopter is. Uh-oh. There's a helicopter right there. Oh, yeah. They're going to hit a helicopter. Yep. That didn't turn out too good. They actually got a helicopter. So they still have the ability to do this. These types of attacks. More than 450 TSA agents quit during DHS shutdown as airport delays grow. 450, huh? This is a average U.S. diesel price quickly approaching $5.40 a gallon. Look at the increase there. You see that right there? Look at that. Can you see that, my little cursor there? You can't see that, can you? Shoot. Let me see if I can make my cursor show up there. Let me see. Capture cursor. How's that? Did that work? There you go. You see right there? Look at that. Okay, so this was during COVID right here. That's 2021, 22. And look at the parallel. We're going right up to COVID times. Not good. Oh, you can't see. What the heck am I doing? You can't see what I'm showing you. I'm sorry. There you go. See right there? These are the graphs on U.S. diesel prices. Right there. And here's where we're at now. This was 2021, 2022. And this is where we're at today, right here and here. So we're on our way to surpassing COVID times in terms of prices in gas, diesel. Your ID photos will power UK facial recognition system. This is in the UK. UK government's recent digital ID consultation contains a detail that should have triggered far more alarm than it did. Ministers are approaching a national identity system built around a biometric image while openly stating that police facial recognition may include access to biometric data held by government, unquote. So that means, your digital pictures that you get for your license is all biometrically database, so that wherever you're at, the Internet of Eyes is going to be watching. They're going to know exactly what you do. Your routine every day. Everything is all surveilled anyway. And so they got everything there for knowing exactly what you do. This one is Trump's America AI Act repeals Section 230, expands liability, and establishes centralized federal control over AI systems. And I think that has to do with that every state has to submit to the federal guidelines for AI. They can't opt out, even if they think it's nefarious and it's intrusive and it violates rights. They're not allowed to in any way get out of it. Every state is subject now to the federal government's implementation of and fast tracking or warp speeding of this digital emergency. It's an emergency. We need to get you. Time is short. Time is short. There's terrorists everywhere. We got to know who they are. We got to put them in camp. So we got to get all your information so we know it's you. We don't know it's you. We might think you're a terrorist. And you don't want to be considered a terrorist, do you? So then get your hand out here and take the jab. Take this biometric marker so we know who you are. We're going to get it inside your body here one day. If you will just let us insert it into your cerebral cortex, because that's where we want it. We want it right there in your brain. Right? Insane in the membrane. White House AI framework pushes age verification and surveillance concerns. And this has to do with their pushing of, the children, right? It's the children. We're trying to save the children. Really, it's the doorway that they gain entrance to all the other data that they want you to be surveilled for, so that you can be in their system, right? They're using the children and their supposed protection online for the reasons why they want to track, trace, database, biometrically surveil every aspect of your life. And that's going to be the reasons for why they use the children, right? The framework signals a shift toward standardized age assurance systems. And basically what's going to end up happening is everything is you're going to have to log in for everything. Anything that has a computer, you're going to have to log your car. It's going to know it's you. Everything's going to be set up where it's sensitive to that digital ID that you have to log in, because everything now is powered by internet, right? And so whether it's your internet, your computer, your smart TV, or smart thermostat, your smart refrigerator, your smart washing machine, I mean, you're going to have to basically let them know it's you, because somebody could be taking over your house and it's not really you, right? They could be using all your appliances, and you don't want anybody just coming in and using your appliances. It's not you. They got to have permission. They got to have the access. You got to give them access if you're going to let them use it. So everything that has a computer board type chip system is going to have access to who you are, right? So it's going to know what you're doing. And everything in your car, getting in your car, you can't start your car unless you somehow biometrically let it know it's you. But it says, but in practice, these systems typically rely on and are synonymous with identity verification. While framed as protecting minors, this pushes platforms toward requiring ID or other personal data to access services, which could reshape how people use digital platforms overall. At the same time, they want one set of federal rules instead of a mix of state laws, which would make these requirements more consistent and widespread. They are not stopping. So there you go. Basically, in the digital age, you will merge with the Borg, become one. Otherwise, you will be destroyed. You will be destroyed if you do not become one with the Borg. Now, it can be a Chinese Borg. Now, listen to this. Tell me this don't sound like a Chinese Borg, like the Chinese Borg. Listen.
14.
14.
15.
15.
16.
16.
14.
14.
11.
11.
10.
10. Wobbot. We know you making fun of us. When we take over, we come find you. We have something we want to give to you, a special gift. Captain Bofang. Anyways, so anyways, let's see what else we got. Do we got anything else we want to talk about? And this, my cup is green. That's why I disappear. Ooh, it's a green screen I'm on. You thought this was my beautiful room? No, it's just a big green sheet behind me. I'm actually out in a cave with my Starlink getting a signal, and I'm in a cave out in the middle of nowhere. A big grizzly bear just walked by a minute ago. Wabbit is a swikey wabbit. That's, like I said, when I sat and I talked with Maria from Z Media, she would say, Wabbit is a wonderful, wonderful man. You have to go support Wabbit, she said. It's like, I love the Australian accent. Wabbit. Wabbit, Wascowee Wabbit. I always liked Elmer Fudd. Elmer Fudd was a cool dude. But anyways, anything else you guys want to say? Comment in the comments. Let me know what you want to ask. If you have any questions or comments or statements of fact or fiction, it's all up to you. This is your time. I'm opening it up for you right now. Talk about the weapon of love. The weapon of love. Jesus is the embodiment of it. And if you want to call him a weapon, you would say that the best weapon is picking up your cross and giving your life for your friend, right? What does it say that no greater love has any man than this, right? Now, if you can truly, and I was thinking about this scripture earlier tonight, Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commands. So the commands of the Lord, right? Two greatest commands are this: love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. This encompasses the whole of the law, right? Jesus himself fulfilled the law. The law of love is the actual reason for why the law was even there. But what happens? They take the law, and I say the law, there's a lot of, and this is why we go into the teaching on this topic. It's very interesting, the law, what it means. But when it says that the law of the Spirit of life that's in Christ Jesus has made me free from the law of sin and death, you're talking about a law that's at work within your members. When you're born into this world, you're born in or under the dominion of a fallen nature, right? It's not the sin that you commit, it's the sin that is a part of your nature that needs to be remedied. Jesus himself came to remedy that. And obviously the sins that are committed, especially with knowledge, when your conscience tells you, the nature itself cannot abide by the actual command. Right? Paul said, I do the things that I don't want to do, and the things that I want to do, I don't do. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from this body of death? It's literally sin within me, right? So that sin within you has to be converted, or that's what conversion is. It's a transformation. The seed of God himself, the uncreated life that is God, is planted in your soul. And that seed that cannot sin, it says, that seed cannot sin. In 1 John, it says that. But if we do sin, we have an advocate, Jesus Christ the righteous, right? So we do have an advocate if we do sin, but the seed itself does not sin, because it is the very uncreated life that is God. It's his life that is implanted within you. You're grafted in to the vine of God himself, right, as a child of God. So you're born from above. That is what they call the new birth. In a nutshell, this is the gospel. Pick up your cross, put off your old man, put on Christ. The circumcision of the heart is a transformation. It's not just a circumcision of the physical body, it's a circumcision of the heart. And that's the new covenant, right? I'll put my laws in their heart, and they will follow my laws because they won't be an outward observance. It's going to be an inward motivation, right? And so when you have a circumcision of the heart, it's the reproductive organ of the soul that brings new life because you're connected to God's presence, his very spirit, right? It's the inner temple. That's why we talk about the inner temple. The body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. But your physical body, when it was circumcised, it was a sign of the covenant of the Old Testament. It was a sign of the covenant people, right? And when they circumcised the male, it was a symbol of a pure seed, right? It's all about the seed. It's all about your inheritance. It's all about your heritage, the people that are born under your authority and under your in your society or culture. But basically it's a spiritual culture, right? It's a spiritual belief that affects culture, and traditions are part of that. But it's really about the life that is a covenant that they made with God. And that's the sign of the covenant is the circumcision, right? And so when you have the circumcision of the soul or of the heart, you're reproducing a spiritual seed. So it's no longer outward circumcision that God requires, as it says in the New Testament, right? The Gentiles weren't required to have circumcision. It was a circumcision that's required is of the soul. So that's a part of the cross, picking up your cross. The preaching of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God unto salvation, right? And so that salvation is a laying aside of the world, a laying aside of the physical acts of the carnal nature of the flesh. And what does that mean? It's not just the drives or the passions, but it's also a mindset or a connection to the world's influence. So you kind of, in a certain way, are in the world, but you're not of it. You interact with the world and the people of the world, but you are influencing them. They're not influencing you. They're not pushing an agenda upon you or their spirit into you. You are turning the world upside down, right? These men have come to our city now, and they're turning the world upside down. They were upset that this message was literally transforming society wherever these men took this message, because it was an influence that literally turned everything upside right. You know, the world lives upside down, and they don't even know it. It's kind of like when I see American people, when I think about how people think, just in our own country, how people are so shallow in their thinking when it comes to just what's happening in the world. Think about how unaware they are of the spiritual realities. If they're not even aware of what's going on in the world around them, just geopolitically and or environmentally, they're so woefully unaware or unprepared. They're unaware, and they're I don't know the word. They're not educated about things that are happening in the world. They don't know history. They don't, and I just say that especially the recent generations that are not educated correctly. But that also is a reflection too of the spiritual famine for the word, a famine for the truth, a famine for what is reality. The Chinese have supersonic weather balloons. Thank God we educate our kids. I'll tell you, you got to educate and prepare by study, by prayer. It's not just studying. It's not just getting an education. It's preparing the heart and the mind for an education that is, your children are taught of the Lord, right? If you're a child of God, you're taught by God, right? Jesus said you don't have any need for any man to teach you. You have the Spirit of God, and He will lead you into all truth, right? He will take from what is mine and reveal it to you, right? You're getting something from God, and God is unveiled. Only God Himself can show it to you. You can't learn this in a seminary.
You know, it's imparted to you by the Spirit of God. Now, God can use people in a seminary that have the Spirit of the Lord. Now, if they're being guided by the Spirit of the Lord, then it is a spiritual gift. It is something that God is using to speak to you. An apostle, a prophet, evangelist, a pastor, a teacher, right? Those are gifts to the body of Christ, right? But Jesus said very clearly, you don't have any need for any man to teach you. And he's talking about a natural teaching. You know, you had all these rabbis, they love to be seen in their long flowing robes. They love to be called rabbi. They love to be given a high position and a seat where everybody knows that they're in the seat of Moses. They oversaw the affairs of Israel, both religiously and legally. And they were always praised as being leader. They love position. They love respect. They love to be the teachers. But if you're not led by the Spirit of God, you're leading people astray. You're keeping people in a state of comfort and ease when there is no comfort and ease. There should be no peace. You're not going to ever have peace until you get the Prince of Peace in your heart anyway. Amen. So if you're not ready to die, you're not ready to live. You know, if you're not ready to die, you're not ready to live. Have you ever heard that song? Live like we're dying. Live like we're dying. Have you ever heard that song? I think it's a secular song, if I'm not mistaken. It might be a Christian song. Who sang that song? Let's see if I can find that song. Uh-oh, something's going on here in Israel. What's going on here? More bombs. More bombs have fallen. 24/7, it just doesn't stop. Oh, Dimona. They're going after Dimona again. Ooh, this is where the nuclear power plant and nuclear facilities are. Look, that's happening right now. They're hitting Dimona. That's pretty significant. That's a significant attack there because that means they're still firing missiles. They're still firing the missiles. Fire the missiles. We must fire the missiles. The motherland. Let's see if I can find that song lyric. Let me just find it really quick. Christy Allen, is that it? It's not Christy Allen, is it? Oh, yeah, it is. That's it. That's it. That's it. Chris Allen. Oh, Chris Allen. Chris Allen. I made a video about this one time. You ever see this video? I'll show it. It doesn't matter. We don't care about ad revenue here. Okay, so this is that song. How many of you guys ever seen this? This is an old song. This is 16 years old. Remember this? I got a message there that, you know, you've only got a small amount of time on Earth. And, you know, the lyrics, some of the lyrics you might not have heard too well, but like the lyrics say, it says here that if your plane fell out of the sky, who would you call with your last goodbye? Have you ever seen when these planes are crashing, people call on the phone? Like during 9/11, people were literally being prepared for their death on the plane. They were calling their loved ones. Who would you call with your last goodbye? Should we be so careful who we left out of our lives? Because when we long for absolution, there will be no one on the line. And, you know, we think about what is it life really all about? You know, if you got true love, you don't have pride, you don't have, you know, all kinds of, you know, expectations. It's not expectations, but it's you know, what's the word I'm thinking of? You don't want to put up barriers. You want to try to win people over, and sometimes that's not possible. You know, if at all possible, be at peace with all men. But sometimes it's not possible, and you have to put some distance between you and the person. But
But you can pray for them, right? You can pray for them. And then it says, and I like this verse here. It says, you never know a good thing until it's gone. You never see a crash until it's head on. Is that not true? I mean, head-on collisions. We saw a head-on collision the other day. I mean, if you saw a head-on collision coming, you'd get out of the way. But you don't see it until it's right on you. You know? And then it's gone. Why do we think that we're right when we're really dead wrong? Pride. We don't really see the big picture. We don't really see the brevity. We don't really understand every moment and how important it is. You never know a good thing until it's gone. So we got to start living. We got to start loving. We got to tell people that, when we got a chance to say, you got to tell them you love them. Amen. So I want to tell you right now, I love you. And everybody out there that's listening, we're praying. We're praying for everybody out there that needs the prayers. I know there's a lot of people out there that are sick that are watching. I know there's a lot of people out there that are souls are sick. They need our prayers. And anybody out there that has the love of Jesus, reach out. Pray for your friends, your fellow man. Those who aren't in the faith, if you need prayer, come check out our ministry channel. Get involved. Start hanging out. Talk in the chat. Anybody out there need some prayers? Pray. Do I have a day job? Yeah. I work all day long. I never stop working. And so, Miss Shelley, God bless you. Anybody out there needs some prayers, we'll definitely be praying for you. I'm reading some of your comments. I think some of you guys might be on the back end of the stream. You're commenting on things that I said like an hour ago. It's not your kind of music. I know it's music from like the 90s, I think. But it's the lyrics that really count. You know what? I like the old hymns. That's probably not your kind of music either, I know. But hey, the hymns are great. Get into different types of melodies and lyrics and poetry, and understand that God has a way of doing things that may not seem contemporary at times. The ancient pathways, you want to open up. You want to be able to get back to the foundations, because we've lost touch with reality. We're caught up in a simulated, work of our own imagination. We think that we're somehow, our own gods, and we make our own. We march to the beat of our own drum, unfortunately. The man that has God has no pride, ego, haughtiness, or defensiveness. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's difficult to do. And if you don't have that narrow, that's why it says the gate that leads to life is narrow, but very few be that find it. You got to be, they called the gate, it's more difficult for a rich man to enter in than a camel to go through the eye of a needle, right? And a lot of people think that's a needle with a, that you sew with. But actually what that was it was a gate that was called the eye of the needle. It was called the eye, the gate, or the eye of the needle. And the reason was because it's very narrow. It was very low. And when the camels would come in, they would have to train them to get on their knees. And they would have to scoot through the gate because they couldn't just walk in. And so humility, getting on your knees, prayerfully entering in, to a place that you are going to have to trust God for all of your strength, your wisdom, your everything that is dependent on God. It's not you. You know what I mean? Your pride and ego and haughtiness think it's all about us. We can do it. We're strong. We're Americans. We have power. The might of our own invention. And we're trusting in worldly influences anyway, and it's probably demonic influences behind that. And so we think that we're wise when we're really fools. Do we really trust in the Lord? And does the Lord really the one that secures our life? Is he the one that goes out before you? Is he the one that scatters your enemies? Is he the one that gives you everything that you have? Or is it the strength of your own ability? Is in your own power? And that you secure, that you take the glory for it. And then just like, what was it, Nero, you're going to be thinking yourself a god. That's when you get eaten by worms. Didn't he get eaten by worms? I think it was Nero. They praised him as a god, and he's like, yep, I am a god. And then what happened? He got eaten by worms. Yes, pray for the weak, the elderly, the disabled, the homeless. Absolutely. There's so many people out there that are in need. Brad, God bless. God bless you, brother. J-Bar needs prayers. Let's pray for J-Bar. Hem's not this K-Love stuff. I know, Lauren. I know. It is K-Love. It is like that K-Love music. Because I used to listen to that back in the day. It's got a good message though, you know? It's kind of like touchy-feely, contemporary, draw in all the contemporary people out there. You think it's demonic? Pray for our leaders. Yes, our leaders need prayer. Pray for the leaders. We need to pray for the country, for the military, for the church. I think the church is asleep. I think the majority of those who are leading or teaching are leading astray, and they're teaching error. And they might even be teaching doctrines of demons, you know, thinking that they're wise. They became fools, right? And they glory in the same things the world does, unfortunately. But we do have a small amount of time. Your son went back to his very abusive, manipulative girlfriend. Oh, well, we'll pray that he wakes up, and that God either that wakes him up or wakes his girlfriend up, gets her right with God, and that's what you should pray for. That God would touch the girl's heart, transform her, make her into a believer, and then maybe that would have an effect on him as well, right? Hopefully, you know, God is working on his heart separately as well. We'll keep praying for him. Yes, Christ is in us. Amen. Amen. All right, let's say a prayer before we go. God bless. Thank you, Jesus, for everybody that's out here listening. I pray you touch them. Those who are wondering, I pray that you lead them to a knowledge of the truth, and that are seeking, and all they need to do is call upon you, and you'll be there in a moment, answering every prayer, and securing their future, so they know that you're with them, and that they have peace, the true peace that passes all understanding, the Prince of Peace, the true Prince of Peace, the mighty God, the everlasting Father, and upon your shoulders rests the government, and your kingdom is forever and ever. And I pray that you speak to every heart now and draw them closer to you, and prepare them for the day when you truly do appear, and you do return. And we know that the time is drawing near. We do look up, and we pray your blessing upon everyone here tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, guys, I do think that it is getting close, and I just pray the reality of this message. It's not just like a fairy tale to you. You know, sometimes people read the Bible and they're like, oh, you know, it's a kind of a, you know, it's a good story, some history in it, but a lot of it's allegory, or maybe it's symbolic. The reality is that God's truth is forever it's fixed. It says it's forever fixed in the heavens. It upholds all things. It upholds matter. It upholds subatomic particles. It upholds the very breath that you breathe and the thought that you think. God knows you even before you even make the prayer. He already knows you're going to pray. He already knows where you're going to be in the next moment before you even get there. God has already gone out before you. He knows if you're going to deny him. He knows if you're going to accept him. But you still have to make the choice. God knows that you have a free will. And he knows there's a devil there that's lying and deceiving. But he knows there's two voices. You have a choice. And you have a conscience. Make the right choice. Amen. In all that being said, God bless. I love you all. Keep the faith. And seek and you will find. Amen. God bless. I'll talk to you soon. And I'll be back on the BP Ministries channel. I think I'm going to try to make a broadcast tomorrow morning. So pray. We're going to do a communion service coming up for Passover, or what you might call Easter. If you're one of the Christians that calls it Easters still, we still call it, we call it Passover, but it's the same thing, I guess. It's actually not the same. I mean, it's the name Easter is not something that we would like to represent it as, but it is the Passover, the resurrection. Okay. Easter is something else that has to do with a little pagan symbolism in there that got sucked into the Roman Catholic Church. But you know what we mean. We're gonna do the Lord's Supper on the Passover. So get ready for that. God bless. It is coming up, so be prepared for that. We'll let you know when it happens and the times. In the meantime, I'll see you guys back here